Yeah, it is live stream now.
Namaskar, greetings, and gratitude. I welcome you all to another Inspirational Star Talks episode number 84. And on the hot seat today with me is Miss Sandhya S Pillai. I welcome you, Sandhya, to the Star Talks.
Thank you, Preeti. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you. Miss Sandhya Pillai is an accomplished executive coach, founder of Sandhya Coaching with 25 years of industry experience, including 13 years in leadership and communication coaching. A passionate facilitator, thought leader, and a keynote speaker. She is specializing in designing leadership programs, mentoring women entrepreneurs, and coaching aspiring coaches and trainers. That is so nice, Sandhya.
Thank you.
Sandhya, tell me what inspired you to become an executive coach and how has your approach evolved over the years?
That's a very interesting question, Preeti. I guess almost in a decade, many things in the market has changed. Global economy has changed. But the first question first. So, what inspired me? I think coaching. I got into coaching as a profession accidentally because that's something that happened through my mentor. So, I got my first coachee through my mentor because she trusted that I could do that well. But executive coaching was something which is more like a conscious decision, Preeti, which happened over a period of time. So I started with first time manager, senior manager, this executive section, which is the CXO or the D suite leader. I started much later, but that happened also because of the fact that I had been constantly witnessing leadership at that level. And I could feel that people lacking that communication and that gap leading to not being able to get results, and that inspired me to also design such packages which could cater to that section. And so yeah, thankfully in the last 13 years we've been able to work with a lot of CXOs, country managers, CEOs of the companies, CTOs of the companies as well. But yes, one thing that has evolved, Preeti, has been the global leadership landscape. It is no more an authoritative leadership where you can instruct. So from instruction mode, we have definitely changed to transformation mode, right? So that has definitely changed.
Wonderful, so wonderful. So, Sandhya, what are the most common challenges you've been seen in executives face, and how have these changed over the years?
Oh, yes, it has. It has changed tremendously. And I think leaders who are from maybe a newer generation, they are able to adapt. But people from our kind of generation, Preeti, it's very difficult from them to become adaptive to what we are seeing and observing right now. Somebody was writing on LinkedIn about these Gen Z stares, right? The way they stare at us and they have no communication when they're very irritated. It's not home, it's also at workplace that we're seeing. Not that I want like to tag a Gen Z here, but I'm just saying that these are small nuances. There is nothing wrong with the way they work. I work with Gen Z myself, and I think as a generation, they are a very evolved generation, and we are lucky to have them in the workforce. But at the same time, people who millennials or people who from our kind of generation are struggling to adapt to that communication style. So that's one. Cultural mindset shift is something that we are seeing. Globally, people are also interacting. So because of the hybrid model, there is a lot of change in the way people talk. So that's a gap that we're observing. Initially, when I started, I think around some 13 years ago, the basic challenges were feedback, public speaking, keynote speeches, maybe handling conflicts here and there. But today it has become vast, right? It is ambiguity at times. People don't really know what is going to happen. Suddenly, you're supposed to go and tell 1,000 employees that we have to ask you to leave. So leaders are really having a tough time handling change and rapid changes. It's not like it's just one year
Hmm,
or 5 years you live with that
absolutely.
change. It's like rapid changes. They are struggling, so they have to communicate that to the team. Adaptive communication is something that they have to learn. Globally, culturally, they have to be aware of global stakeholders. So these are some of the challenges. And then hybrid model, They don't know how to engage with the team better. How do they take care of the mental or the well-being? So today, well-being is an important part, right? And people are expected to take care of the mental well-being, emotional well-being of their employees, which is also a lot of communication the way you're doing, right?
Mhm.
So for them, all of these are the new challenges that we are hearing now.
Absolutely, absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah,
My workforce, where I'm also working, yes, there are all
yeah.
Gen Zs, and it's great to be with them.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what new skills or mindsets do you believe are most critical for today's leaders compared to when you started coaching?
uh, like I said, one important thing that I'm noticing, Preeti, is growth mindset. If we are stuck, we are actually stuck now, right? So, for example, a lot of coaches that I work with, they're also their solopreneurs having their own businesses, so leader in a sort, right? And they're stuck with the fact that I don't want to change to AI. AI is going to take away a lot of my jobs. So I'm not going to change. I'm not going to adapt. I'm not going to do what Instagram. I can't constantly change, but that is the requirement of today's time. I'm not saying we as millennials or Gen Alpha can learn everything. We can't. Maybe we are slow at learning, but we will have to adapt to the market, to the global economy. So initially, if maybe the physical courses worked, people want online courses. Even in online now, it has changed, right? People don't have the patience to consume 30 minutes of YouTube unless and until they really love the person on the other side. Like they have to extremely love the YouTuber to listen to the 30 minutes of information and knowledge.
Mhm.
Even if it's lovely knowledge, beautiful person out there, you can't have the patience of 30 minutes. So it has now become podcast. It is audio, while I'm in the kitchen, while I'm driving, I'm listening to that. So that kind of things have changed. So leaders also need to have growth mindset. They need to be resilient enough to adapt to the changes. The most important part that I'm noticing is, one, the leader themselves have to be now self aware. They can't be in a state saying, this is who I am, this is who I have always been. It's not going to work for the new workforce, right? You have to
Yeah.
change. The new workforce will ensure that you change. So start looking within and see that, are there some stuck belief systems which is not allowing you to move? Are there some belief systems which is making you unproductive, right? Are you willing to work on those? So there's a lot of self discovery that the leaders have to do, which they should be open to, which will also help them be coach and heal through that. We all went through weird social conditioning. So are we willing to put in that effort to change the way we were conditioned and slightly reframe the way we talk to people? Because initially we were used to the directorial and instructional way of conversations. In fact,
Mhm.
we were more used to transactional conversations. Now that has to change, right? It has to change to having more conversations which is meaningful. You are also connecting to the other person, so the rapport building interpersonal is much higher today because you need to connect to the workforce to be able to get responses from them, or even for them to actually act on your instructions. So connection, emotional connection is very important. These are some of the things that I see topmost right now that people could be struggling, other than the public speaking and the rest of it. That these are some of the core skill sets. If they're not having that right now, it's very difficult for them to sustain the volatile changes that's happening.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, how do you help leaders navigate uncertainty and rapid change?
Oh, that's that's a tough one. I guess most of us are struggling ourselves, right, to figure out. Uh, but one thing that, I guess if I talk about the core skill of growth mindset, leaders like you and me also, from that generation or even today, all of them, any generation, have to have an open mindset and to be able to handle the volatility, and also most important, be open to information. Sometimes we are so closed that I don't want to have that information because I didn't have the information. It is okay for me to be oblivion to the world, but if it is your niche, if that is where you work, you will need to know what is there in the market. So the way we help them is using a lot of tools. I'll just name a few tools. So one is neuroscience, which is NLP. We use emotional intelligence. We use REBT, which is cognitive therapy. We also use positive psychology and many other behavioral ways of working with people. Now, the top most in our, or the most favorite that we've seen in the coaches that they love is NLP, because one, a lot of leaders believe it's very logical and scientific, but I think the logic kind of really hits for them, and that's why they love using NLP techniques for reframing and working on those challenges and having those open mindset. The second that works wonderfully well is REBT, which is the rational emotive cognitive therapy, where people are able to use that to reframe and look at the belief system, which is very unproductive for them. So yeah, that's about it.
Great. What frameworks or tools have stood the test of time in your coaching practice?
One is NLP, Preeti, though most of us who have been NLP practitioners for so long would feel, oh, it's redundant, but I think it has come back. It has
Mm.
come back with a boom, and I can see a lot of leaders love it. And like I said in my previous question, I think the fact that it is more logical for them, just because it's something scientific and it's not spiritual, because a lot of people feel suddenly when we ask them to work on their belief system, it is spirituality. So people who don't believe and want to be part of that spiritual part of affirmation, manifestation, law of
Mhm.
attraction, and all of that, they prefer this, right? And
Okay.
we can't. We are nobody to judge why they prefer what. But what I'm seeing is that's why I think they love NLP a lot more than the rest. But I also see spirituality as one of the foundations that's coming up for leaders. When I say spirituality, I'm not talking about any rituals or tradition or religion here. I'm talking about the fact that being able to live a mindfully rested, peaceful life, having a particular lifestyle which focuses on their productivity, that's a conscious effort leaders are willing to put in. And that's really heartwarming to see that, because then we can bring them actually give them a holistic approach of leadership, right? So it's not just the frameworks and the functional part of communication, but we can also add in a lot of spiritual practices for them, so that they have a holistic life and they're able to deep dive into the inner belief system, and externally then become a different persona altogether. So that's what is working.
Absolutely wonderful. Yes, correctly said. Uh, the last question to you. What do you see as the biggest barrier to executive growth? And how do you help clients overcome them?
I think this has this particular belief system has stood the test of times, which is for the last 13 years, Preeti, this has been consistent at the top level that I hear is I if I become emotional, I will be taken for granted. If I become vulnerable, people will think that I am too emotional and sensitive. I need to know it all. I can't show my team members that I don't know it all. So that the fact that that human element, that it's okay if you are having a defect, or it's okay if you don't have that particular skill set. So today what we are working on leaders is to show them that how do you leverage the strengths that you have, and not really focus a lot on the weaknesses. I'm not saying we're not working on it, we are working on that, but focusing a lot more on the strengths, right? It helps them see themselves better and in a better light as well. And this is consistent. This is one of the topmost belief systems that we work with throughout the year, where they have this thought process that if I show my emotions, my team will start taking me for granted. If I share my vulnerable real story, people will think, oh, come on, he or she is weak. But that's the change that has happened, and that's what I've been telling, that people love to hear your authenticity and authentic stories. You don't have to reveal it all, but show them your human element. Show them that you have emotions, you have your bad days, and that connects to the team better. So as simple as I may get triggered when my deal does not go through, right? But when I come to the office, if I'm showing a bad behavior or an aggressive behavior, or maybe just a cut-off behavior from, completely avoidant behavior with my employees, they don't get to understand what's happening. They just know that boss is not really in a great mood, right? But
Mhm.
instead, if I already inform them, that certain deals are very important for me and crucial, or while I walk out of the office, I can say, hey, if this deal doesn't go through, my day is completely screwed up, right? And then the team is willing to help you, right? Because you've come and shared with them that this deal is very critical for you.
Absolutely.
So be
Absolutely.
open to the team members to let them also feel you as a human, and let be also that human element in their life, so that they feel that connection, right? Only then they can see transformation and you can see transformation. So I feel the strongest thing that has worked in the last 5 years, and thanks to COVID, is emotional intelligence. Though I think emotional intelligence as a word has been misused a lot. But what I'm talking about here is to use your emotions as your strength and not see it as your weakness, right? And that's the change that we want to bring, because once I am okay to accept my emotion, good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, it makes it easy for me to be a normal person to people, right? I don't have to have a facade or a COVID mask to say that, I am always smiling and everything is hunky dory with me. Instead, you can be as human, as real as possible. So yeah, that's one thing I wanted to add.
Okay, lastly, tell me one of your success stories.
Oh, there are many, and then there could be many failures as well, I'm sure. But one success story has been, in fact, it has been one of the toughest that I worked with, because initially when this client came to me, he wasn't open to coaching, so he didn't understand coaching. One, and the second, the fact that it was individualistic, he was not really very comfortable. The third part of it is that he did not understand how coaching functions. So for him, it was like I would step into a session and I would be given frameworks. I have to just execute it, go back and see the results, right? So with that mindset, he came in, and we worked with him for almost 3 years. So first
Okay.
year was a success. It it took us 3 months for him to understand the process, though he did understand it in the first three sessions. But for him to understand that there's a lot of inner work that needs to go, that needs to be done to ensure that he comes out of that closed mindset, and to see the promotion that he wanted, there was a lot of work that we had to do. So while he wanted a particular global role, his inner thought process kept saying that he's not fit for it. He kept comparing himself with other people, and that is how he communicated to his team members as well. So people never liked him in the organization. He wasn't the most popular leader. To
Okay.
make him from the least popular to bring him to an average popular leader, where at least his name was mentioned in certain meetings, and then to making him almost in the third year the most popular person in the team. It was a long journey for us, tough, because he didn't know coaching. Second, he didn't want to accept he needed coaching. Third, he felt coaching is like some psychological therapy session, and he didn't want to, he felt he doesn't have a mental illness to be
Okay.
having these coaching sessions. So it was,
Okay.
and yeah, and it was forced by the organization. So he had to do it. But it was really nice to see how we could, subtly and slowly bring about that change in his belief system, make him more open, vulnerable, resilient. And what I hear from him today is that his personal life has also transformed, because he as a person has become less bitter about life. He has become less comparative, like in terms of
Mm,
the way he would always compare himself with other people. that
okay.
that has changed for him. So he's actually in a very happy space, I would say, exploring his own passion. Things that he loved doing in college has come back for him. So some things that we kind of leverage, what was that, what were some of his talents and skill sets that he had. So yeah, those are some of the things. So one of the toughest for me personally, but very, very, happy and satisfied to see the kind of result that we got there.
Wonderful. So wonderful. All the best to you for all your
Thank you.
endeavors. So nice of you, Sandhya, to come today at Star Talks. You've been
Thank
really
you.
patient.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Preeti. You
Thank
have a
you.
great day, and thanks for
Thank
having me.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, my dear audience, for being with us in this lovely chat today. I will come back with another personality who has inspired my life. Have a good day to you.